A coin could decide the winner of a mayoral election here in Ohio. We have all the details on the toss-up. See how the president and a few politicians honored those who served. And in sports, a member of the Ohio University women's basketball team made state history. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news out of Southeastern Ohio. I'm Ben Schwartz. Thank you for joining us. A 16-year-old girl is in stable condition after being shot while walking down a street in Columbus. Columbus police say the teen was shot shortly after 8:30 p.m. Saturday when an unknown person fired multiple shots from across the street. Authorities report a witness saw a male running away from the scene. Police are asking anyone with information about the shooting to call CPD's Felony Assault Unit or Central Ohio Crime Stoppers. The city of Columbus has announced the two finalists for its next police chief and has set a date for a community forum to introduce them. The finalists are Thomas Quinlan and Perry Tarrant. Quinlan is the current interim Columbus police chief and Tarrant is a former Seattle assistant police chief. Mayor Andrew Ginther says he wants a chief committed to increasing diversity among the ranks and aligning policing with community expectations. The Ohio Senate president is pledging to take action on a bill that would reduce low-level drug possessions to misdemeanors and increase penalties for drug dealers. The legislation is part of lawmakers' attempt to reduce Ohio's prison population. The bipartisan bill would allow people convicted of low-level drug possession charges to have their records sealed after completing drug court requirements. Republican Senate President Larry Obhoff wants the bill prioritized this fall. Ohio communities will participate in a $350 million federal study analyzing drug intervention techniques and policies. 10 Ohio counties will be among the first wave of communities participating in the National Institute of Health's Healing Communities Study. Goals of the four-year study include reducing opioid deaths by 40% and reducing high-risk opioid prescribing. The Ohio counties are Ashtabula, Athens, Cuyahoga, Darke, Greene, Guernsey, Hamilton, Lucas, Morrow, and Scioto. An Ohio man convicted of killing two police officers will be formally sentenced later this month. Quentin Smith was found guilty earlier this month of 2 counts of aggravated murder after fatally shooting 2 Westerville police officers in February of last year. A jury recommended a sentence of life without parole last week. Judge Richard Fry will formally pass the sentence on to Smith on November 21st as he is legally unable to override the jury.
Hello, I'm forecaster Adlai Carwish here, and right now it is 61 degrees, but it won't be warm for that long. It's been a pretty beautiful day outside. We've had some sun outside so far, but only 61 degrees. It's been warm, humidity at 49%, pressure at 29.86%, winds coming from the west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. We take a look at all around southeastern Ohio. You can see the cold front start to move through as Columbus is already at 40 degrees, New Lexington at 49, but you can see that sort of divide there, right there, because Athens is at 61, Ripley's at 61, and Jackson is at 59. But you can see over there, we take a look at tonight, and it's going to be 24 degrees, and it will start out rain as we get to the rain around 6 or 7 p.m., and it will turn into snow, about 1 to 2 inches of snow, winds coming from the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and Ben, it's been one of those days where it's been beautiful, but the snow is starting to come. We should be expecting around 1 to 2 inches, and I'll talk more in my full weather, but the snow, it's first snow of the season.
Wow, that's crazy to hear. I saw a bunch of people outside in short sleeves today. It was beautiful weather, but crazy that we're going to get that snow so soon.
Yeah, it goes like that from 60 to 24, just like that.
All right, well, thank you for the forecast, Adelaide. A Kentucky man is facing charges after police say he neglected and starved his dogs. Lamrick Sanders pled not guilty and will appear in court again on Thursday. He has been in custody since May on unrelated charges. Court documents say they found 4 starving pit bull puppies left outside without food or water at Saunders' home. They say one of the adult dogs was dead and had been partially consumed by the puppies. The living dogs were rescued and are expected to recover. Even more retail stores in West Virginia are closing their doors. The last 2 remaining Kmart locations in the state will go out of business by early next year. The Charleston Gazette-Mail reports the Elk View Kmart will close in December and that the store in Kanawha City will close in February. The store's parent company, the Transform Co., said in a statement that the closures were because of a, quote, difficult retail environment. West Virginians are being told to be on the lookout for an invasive insect. The State Department of Agriculture said in a news release that a small population of the spotted lanternfly was detected in the eastern panhandle community of Bunker Hill last month. The insects are devastating to trees and crops such as grapes and hops. The lanternfly is native to China and likely arrived in North America through imported goods. A coin toss could once again decide the winner of a mayoral election in a small Ohio village. Travis Boyd and Grant Downs both received 127 votes during Tuesday's election in Magnolia, Ohio. The coin toss will determine the winner if the 2 candidates are still tied after the election's results are certified in 2 weeks. This is how the outgoing mayor Robert Leach won his election in 1979. Magnolia's population is just under 1,000.
Often used political line, "It's not the result we had hoped for," may be an understatement for voters in Chesapeake, Ohio. It's been 3 days since the election, and Chesapeake still doesn't know who the next mayor will be. 77 votes each. The question on everyone's mind, what's next? Eyes are now on the Lawrence County Board of Elections. Board officials say more absentee ballots could come in today or tomorrow. Those would immediately be counted. The board will then vote to certify the election on November 16th. However,
there are 4 provisional ballots that potentially can be counted in this race.
If there is still a tie after any missing absentee and provisional ballots are counted, a manual recount will take place. Board officials say that could take a few days. If the result of the recount is still a tie, the next mayor of Chesapeake will be decided by a flip of a coin. How likely is it for something like this to happen, just in general?
Extremely unlikely. Even with a relatively small number of ballots cast in a village mayor's race like here in Chesapeake, it's extremely unlikely for these results to occur.
In a statement to 13 News, candidate Kim Oldeker says, quote, "I figured it would be close, but we'll have to wait and see," adding, "I never expected it would come down to a coin toss. I reached out to incumbent Mayor Tommy Templeton. He did not return my calls."
A 1923-piece silver dollar is believed to have been used to break election ties in Stark County since the early 1940s. Coming up, see how American leadership is paying homage to veterans all across the country. And Arlington Cemetery is running out of room for those who died in service, how veterans are reacting. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Americans couldn't do anything in Iraq or Afghanistan without local people.
I never thought I would ever become friends like this with an Iraqi.
I told him, dude, when you leave, what's gonna happen to me?
Violence in Iraq has reached the highest it has seen in years.
Interpreters get killed because they were with the army. It's really dangerous.
They need to get somewhere safe.
I made a promise. I'm going to help him get here with his family.
The interpreters.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the dramatic ways our planet is changing, revealing the powerful forces that influence our world. From the seasonal cycles that come and go, to the way humans are impacting the Earth. Discover the incredible ways our planet changes, as you've never seen them before.
Our planet is filled with creatures both great and small. But it's often the Goliaths that capture our attention. Being the biggest beast ever, or simply the biggest of your kind, has its advantages. But it also comes with challenges. Take a closer look at how these oversized animals overcome some of life's big problems.
Artist, inventor, enigma, Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo embraced mystery.
Is science the key to his Mona Lisa?
This is the beating pulse underneath her skin.
There was a reason for every decision in every line.
He doesn't make a distinction between the arts and sciences.
Decoding Da Vinci on Nova.
As many across the country honor our men and women in uniform, the president, vice president, and Democratic presidential candidates took to several events to pay homage to vets. Daryl Forges has the details.
A day of gratitude, a day to honor U.S. veterans across the country.
Our veterans risked everything for us. Now it is our duty to serve and protect them every single day of our lives.
The president speaking at a Veterans Day parade in New York, honoring those who gave service to the United States.
To every veteran here today and all across our land, you are America's greatest living heroes.
The president wasn't the only one. Vice President Mike Pence laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery, later giving remarks.
And on this day, on behalf of your president and a grateful nation, thank you.
Democratic presidential candidates also stepped away from the campaign trail to pay their respects as well. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, a veteran himself, attended a ceremony in New Hampshire. And one of the Democratic frontrunners, Bernie Sanders, held a Veterans and Seniors Town Hall in Iowa.
On Veterans Day, and I want to salute all of the men and women who have put their lives on the line to defend our country. We thank you very much.
All for the men and women who gave their all for the country. For many, it's all about unity in a country that's divided politically. I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
According to the United States Census, there were about 18 million military veterans in the United States in 2018. Nearly 2 million of those were female. Senator Sherrod Brown says veterans and all consumers deserve the same protections active duty military receive under the Military Lending Act. Brown has introduced legislation that would do just that. The Military Lending Act capped annual percentage rates on financial loans at 36%. Brown says a person who needs cash to fix a car or cover some unexpected expense can face interest rates as high as 650%. The senator introduced the Veterans and Consumers Fair Credit Act that would extend that 36% interest rate cap to all people. Some 22 million veterans and service members are currently eligible for burial at the historic Arlington National Cemetery, where officials say they are running out of space. For more than 150 years, these hallowed grounds have recorded the history of America's veterans. 1,500 of the first black combat soldiers who served in the Civil War were laid to rest there. Presidents are here, and so are hundreds of young troops who died in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, however, the march of time has caught up. Arlington is running out of room. Today, there are 22 million living armed forces members and veterans who are eligible for burial, but less than 95,000 burial spaces remain. It's a sensitive issue for today's younger veterans.
I've talked to quite a few veterans about this issue, and mixed reactions, but mainly a big sense of disappointment that this is signaling that this is coming to an end.
A controversial conservation program is killing one species to save another. That story is still ahead.
And next on Newswatch, the weather's looking quite well right now, but it won't look good for so long. It's going to get colder with a little bit of snow. But first, here's your stats of local interest.
Art is important because it shows who we were, where we came from.
Through my art, I'm creating a more powerful woman within myself.
Inspiration is everywhere. It's important that we learn our culture, our practices. We are tied to the land. That's our blood. That's where we come from.
An American experience.
The idea of a subway in Boston was an enormous risk.
It was one of the most important engineering achievements of our time.
The conditions are much more challenging than imagined.
And there is tremendous chaos.
People were horrified. There was a lot of opposition to it.
The Race Underground on American Experience.
Americans couldn't do anything in Iraq or Afghanistan without local people.
I never thought I would ever become friends like this with an Iraqi.
I told him, dude, when you leave, what's gonna happen to me?
Violence in Iraq has reached the highest it has seen in years.
Interpreters get killed because they work with the army. It's really dangerous.
They need to get somewhere safe.
I made a promise. I'm going to help him get here with his family.
The interpreters.
Native Americans have fought in every war that the United States has been part of.
There's a tradition in every Indian family of fighting for the United States.
Protecting our land, our family, our community, that's part of the warrior tradition.
I've always wanted to be a soldier. I didn't want to be anything else. I wanted to be a warrior.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm forecaster Adelaide Carwish here, and right now it is 61 degrees with humidity of 49%, pressure at 29.86 inches, winds coming from the west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overall, it's been quite a decent day outside. It's been relatively warm, but it's not going to stay like that. You can already see it in some places up north. In Columbus, it's already 40 degrees. New Lexington's already 49. Chillicothe's already 46. Jackson at 59, but the rest of the areas like Ripley and Athens seem to be still at 61. Well, once that cold front moves through the area, we're all going to see those types of temperatures and even colder. We're going to take a look at the U.S. temp map today. You can see all that, and you can sort of see it. It's a little bit earlier, but you can see those bands. You can see that from that blue to that green. Right now we're in the green, but we're going to slowly move into that blue and even that dark blue and even close to that white area maybe tomorrow night. So we'll take a look here at tonight in Athens. Raining and cold at 8 p.m. That's when the rain is about to start. It'll probably start right there. And around 10 p.m. is when it'll start to transition into snow. And snow should be around 1 to 2 inches. Not too bad for that, but 35 degrees. So by midnight tonight, it'll be 34 degrees and it will still be more snow. Most of the snow will be coming between 10 and 3 a.m. That's when most of the snow will be there for this area. Take a look, which does pardon the effect of a winter weather advisory. What does that mean? It's in effect from 10 p.m. tonight to noon Tuesday. 1 to 2 inches of snow is likely. Not 100%, but is likely. Watch out for slippery roads there. It should be in effect there. Take a look at tonight, 24 degrees. Rain will change into snow, 1 to 2 inches of snow, like I just said. Winds coming from the west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour, so it should be a little bit windier today. We take a look all the way at Southeastern Ohio. You can see it's going to get very cold. Columbus at 22, New Lexington at 22, Ripley at 27. So it's all around very cold with some snow and some rain. Tomorrow, we're only going to get to 30 degrees. We'll have some AM clouds, but it won't turn into sun. But that cold does come in, it is cold with some wind. We might have some pretty bad wind chills. Winds come from the northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. So we might see some 20 mile per hour wind gusts here. I'll take a look at tomorrow all the way through southeastern Ohio. You see Columbus at 26, New Lexington at 28. So all around, it's been pretty cold outside. You see the precip map tonight. You can see that. You can see that little band. You can see the snow. This is around 1 a.m. You can see the snow all through the area. You see that cold front that moves through. That's bringing in all that massive cold air. You can see that cold front move through. We take a look at tomorrow. We take a look at our 7-day outlook. It's all around in the 30s here throughout 4 months. 44 degrees on Thursday. The weekend looked pretty good. All around sunny. Ben, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Adelaide. The U.S. government is attempting to save the northern spotted owl in a controversial experiment by killing its aggressive East Coast cousin. Barred owls are competing with spotted owls for food and space and displacing them in some areas. Some experts are defending the experiment.
The ruling was a victory for the owl, which is
protection measures could cost between 12,000 to 50,000 jobs.
Loggers are coming out on the short end of the stick in this situation.
the latest chapter to save the northern spotted owl has turned the U.S. government into predator, targeting the barred owl, the aggressive East Coast cousin.
It's a little bit distasteful, I think, to go out killing owls to save another owl species. Nonetheless, I also feel like, from a conservation standpoint, our back was up against the wall.
Since 2015, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has killed more than 2,400 barred owls in a controversial experiment to stop the spotted owl's rapid decline.
We are not attempting to remove barred owls from the entire West Coast. We couldn't do it if we wanted to.
In this box are a lot of our tools that we use out in the field.
The agency says it's too early to know if it's working, but critics say it's wrong to kill one species to save another, even a threatened one. Michael Harris's group has sued to stop the program.
If we start to see more animals migrate because of things like climate change or other changes that we happen to make in the environment, we're going to get ourselves into a huge quagmire.
The Fish and Wildlife Service has a permit to kill up to 3,600 owls and could decide to expand its efforts. British Columbia has also killed dozens of barred owls to protect spotted owls, but they're also trying another approach.
The captive breeding program right now, if it doesn't exist in Canada, the spot owl is gone from Canada.
An unlikely ally here? The barred owl.
We are breeding barred owls here at the breeding program as well, which might sound counterintuitive, but we're doing that because we can learn a lot from the barred owls. So they will lay their eggs before our spot owls. And then once the spot owls come, we're all prepared. We've had the practice run of the barred owls.
Ultimately, I think the information that we're gaining in this experiment is going to benefit both species.
You can find more on this story at woub.org/news.
Hi, I'm Abigail Clark. Coming up on Sports on Newswatch, some combo magic with one Ohio women's basketball player over the weekend. Find out what she did that no player in program history has ever done. That story and more right after the break. But first, stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
An American Experience.
The idea of a subway in Boston was an enormous risk.
It was one of the most important engineering achievements of our time.
The conditions are much more challenging than imagined.
And there is tremendous chaos.
People were horrified. There was a lot of opposition to it.
The Race Underground on American Experience. On American Experience.
The idea of a subway in Boston was an enormous risk.
It was one of the most important engineering achievements of our time.
The conditions are much more challenging than imagined.
And there is tremendous chaos.
People were horrified. There was a lot of opposition to it.
The Race Underground on American Experience.
We have Native people. We don't fit into the Mexican. We don't fit into the Puerto Rican. We don't fit into the blacks, and we don't fit into the whites, so we're a separate group. That Indian has to walk in two worlds. He's already pressured in society, much as he had war and, its aftermath to it, and he struggles. He really does struggle.
Our
art is important because it shows who we were, where we came from.
Through my art, I'm creating a more powerful woman within myself.
Inspiration is everywhere.
It's important that we learn our culture, our practices.
We are tied to the land. That's our blood. That's where we come from.
Welcome back. I'm Abigail Clark. Those at the Convo Sunday afternoon witnessed one of the best individual performances in Ohio women's basketball history. Erika Johnson was sharing the love with her teammates against American. Early on in the game, Johnson finds a cutting Caitlin Rohr under the basket for easy two. Johnson had 5 assists in the first half. Second half now, Johnson doing what she does best, behind the back with a smooth finish. Johnson first assist away from a triple-double, only fitting that she finds CC hooks wide under the hoop. Johnson does it. Her 24-13-11 state line helped her become the first player in Ohio history to record a triple-double.
I try to bring everything I can to the team, rebounds, assists, energy, whatever they need from me, and I think I did a good job of that tonight, so it meant a lot, and it came with a dub. I'm just glad that everything is finally falling together and everything is just coming together. I mean, this moment is great, and I'm going to take it and still got to move on. We got another game on Wednesday, so I mean, short-lived.
The men's team also in action in the Convo. Jeff Bull's first official home game as head coach. James Preston off to a heck of a start to the year. Kicks it out to Ben Vanderplas, drills one with what would be an avalanche of threes. Preston stuffing the state sheet. First shot, no good. Gets the miss, backs his man down. Second attempt, good. He was just getting started. Preston again, getting to the tin. Nice move, the lane with a pretty finish. Career high 16 points for him. Preston continuing to dish out the rock to Nolan Foster, who says a big fella can't shoot. Preston finishes the game with 11 assists. Ohio rolls Heidelberg and bowls home opener 88-50.
He sets the tone, and he's going to continue to get better and better. And, we need him sometimes to be a little less selfish, because he always wants to make the pass first, second, third. And, there's going to be games where, he's going to have to shoot the basketball, for us to win.
The Ohio volleyball team is finishing strong in the final stretches of conference play. Ohio took down Kent State on Thursday. They faced Central Michigan on Friday. The team had a red-hot weekend. Set 1, Bobcats take it easy. Delias Boyer with the spike. On to set 2, Maggie Nedamoma, continuing to a beast on the net, slams it down. Ohio up 2-0. The third set for the sweep, Tia Jemerson, the match winner, one of her 31 kills on the weekend. Ohio sweeps Central Michigan.
You're never as bad as you think you are after a loss, and you're never as good as you think you are after a win. But there is something to be said for momentum, and there's something to be said for sweeping a team who is one of the best teams in the conference right now, particularly a team that we may play again in the conference tournament.
The Ohio football team plays their final home game at Plead Stadium tomorrow night. Kickoff gets moved up to 6:30 with the predicted low temperatures, but that won't stop Ohio from celebrating their senior night.
Really, truly special. Not just players, but I mean human beings and how they go about things, and students and scholar athletes and guys that are going to be really successful out there, and you feel good about being able to release those kind of guys out into the real world, but yet you're going to miss them.
Boy, I'm a little nervous with these low temperatures now. Last week there was over 20,000 people in the stadium. Now it might be 1,500.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea to move up that start time, I think.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now let's head back to Adelaide for one final look at tonight's weather.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at tonight. It's not going to be as cold as it is tomorrow night, but it still will be quite cold, 24 degrees. Rain changes into snow. We will see about 1 to 2 inches of snow. Winds coming from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. 24 degrees. We take a look at our 7-day outlook. Like I said, like they said, Tuesday night, 16 degrees outside, but it will stay quite warm on the weekend. Looks quite nice, and there won't be really any rain. Ben, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Adelaide. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Schwartz. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.